What are these words? How do we call all these words? Seldom, hardly ever, sometimes, often, a lot. What are these words?
Adverbs.
Adverbs, right? What kind of adverbs?
Of frequency.
Frequency adverbs, right? Okay, I want you to use these adverbs to talk about any of these kind of shows. Okay, try to tell me a sentence using these adverbs that we have here. I'm going to give you some seconds so you can think in your sentence. Okay. Flavia, tell me please, what is your sentence?
Um, on the weekends, I enjoy watching talk show.
On the weekends, I sometimes enjoy watching talk shows. Okay. What about you, Angela?
I watch talk shows hardly ever.
I hardly ever
The
watch
other was, yeah.
talk shows. Okay. Emily, what about you?
I seldom watch series in my free time.
Okay, thank you. And you, Carlos Eduardo?
I hardly ever watch documentary because I think sometimes it is boring.
Okay, thank you. As you can see, when we use these frequency adverbs, we have an order, right, of the sentence. Do you remember what is the order? What is the order you use in your sentences? ¿Cuál es el orden que utilizaron en sus oraciones? ¿En qué posición lo pusieron este adverbio de frecuencia?
Subject,
Adverb.
Yes, so we normally write or we normally say the adverb of frequency after the subject before the verb, right? Or after the verb to be, right? So this is the position. For example, here I have a sentence. It says, I hardly ever like watching cartoons. Okay, as you can see, this is the position that we normally have in adverbs, right? Hardly ever is my adverb here, and I normally use the adverb after the subject and before the verb. But if we have a verb to be, we use the adverb before the verb to be. Sorry, after the verb to be, right? But in this class, we are going to use all these adverbs at the beginning of the sentence, okay? For example, hardly ever do I like watching cartoons, okay? What other thing can you notice? What other difference? We changed the position of the adverb, yes. What other difference can you notice here?
Add the auxiliary do.
Again, please.
The auxiliary do.
Yes, we use the auxiliary verb do in this case, okay? So, as my sentence is in the present simple, I use the auxiliary verb do in my sentence when I move this adverb at the beginning. We normally do this when we want to emphasize something or when we want to make this sentence more dramatic, okay? So let's learn a little bit about this. It says negative adverbs at the beginning of a sentence. In formal English, we can place a negative or restrictive adverb at the beginning of a sentence to make the sentence more emphatic or dramatic. When we do this, the adverb is then followed by an inversion. Okay, what is an inversion? For example, in this sentence, we have an inversion because we normally write the subject before, right? ¿Ok? Generalmente no escribimos un auxiliar en una oración afirmativa solo cuando queremos enfatizar algo. Por ejemplo, si yo quiero enfatizar que de verdad me gusta mirar dibujos animados, yo puedo decir, I do like watching cartoons. ¿Ok? Solamente para enfatizar. Pero como pueden ver acá, estamos haciendo una inversion. ¿Por qué? Porque el auxiliar va antes del sujeto. ¿Ok? So we are going to work with an inversion. Okay, and this is the order of the sentence that we are going to use. We have the negative adverb, the auxiliary verb, the subject, and then we have a verb. Okay? For example, never before had I watched such a hooking series as God. Okay, so as you can see in this sentence, we are using an adverb, a negative adverb at the beginning of the sentence, and we have an auxiliary verb, the subject, and the verb. Why do you think the verb is in the past participle here? Why do you think the verb is in the past participle here?
Because auxiliary is in the past.
Yes, and we are using the past perfect in this sentence, right? So the auxiliary verb is had, so we are using the past perfect in this sentence. So this is the position of the sentence. So some negative adverbs that we are going to use in this lesson are this one: rarely, hardly ever, seldom, never, or only then. Okay? Here we have some other examples. For example, hardly ever do I watch a documentary. Okay, as you can see, we have an auxiliary verb after the negative adverb. Seldom does Unitel broadcast a good program. As you can see, as the subject of our sentence is it, the auxiliary verb is does. Okay? Last day, I watched Tom and Jerry. Only then did I realize I liked cartoons. Okay? Then we have some other sentences. Never does Brenda choose a quiz show to watch. Okay, so as you can see, we are using in all these sentences the same structure. Okay? Here we have some practice on the book. Any questions before we go to the book? Any questions about this, the use of adverbs at the beginning of the sentence? Here we have exactly the same, right? It says negative adverbs of frequency, never before, rarely, hardly ever, and seldom, can be placed at the beginning of the sentence to give additional emphasis. This is more common in writing. Look at the sentences below. What happens to the subject and verb? When is do required? Here we have some sentences. We are going to read them, and then I want you to help me to answer these two questions. Okay, the first question is, what happens to the subject and verb? And the second question, when is do required? Okay, number one, it says, never before have viewers had so many TV channels to choose from. Nevertheless, it still can be difficult to find something worth watching. Okay, the second sentence, rarely do networks show nature documentaries or primetime television. Those hours are reserved for dramas and sitcoms. Hardly ever have sitcoms portray reality. They are meant to entertain viewers and make them laugh. Okay, so I want you to help me to answer these two questions. What happened to the subject and the verb? What do you think happened to the subject and the verb? Hmm?
There is no verb, okay, no subject.
There is no subject?
All right. We don't write this subject.
We
in the
don't write the
sentence.
subject. And what is this? Viewers,
Ah,
networks, sitcoms. What do you think happened with the subject and the verb?
could be the inversion.
Yes, we do the inversion, right? As we said before, the subject and the verb go after the auxiliary verb. So we have the inversion here with the subject and the verb, right? And then we have the next question. When is do required? What do you think?
To emphasize.
Okay, yes. But when is do required? When the sentence is in the present simple, right? When the sentence is in the present simple, we don't have an auxiliary verb, right? So when we don't have an auxiliary verb, we need to write do, okay? Or if we are talking about the third person, we need to write the auxiliary verb does, okay? Vamos a ver algunos ejercicios que tenemos acá para practicar negative adverbs, okay? So it says, rewrite these sentences placing negative adverbs at the beginning of a sentence, okay? Number one, quiz shows seldom require participants to know a subject in any depth. Seldom do quiz shows require participants to know a subject in any depth. As you can see, what we do was to move the negative adverb at the beginning of the sentence. Then we add the auxiliary verb do because the sentence is in the present simple, right? Then we have the subject. The subject here is quiz shows, right? And then we have the verb. Okay, I want you to do exactly the same with the other sentences, okay? I'm going to give you some seconds so you can do it, and then we're going to check your sentences. Okay, last night movie was such a boring movie that I fell asleep. As you can see in these two sentences, we have a situation and the result of this situation. So we're going to use so and such to express the situation and the result, okay? For example, when we have so here and that, here we have such and that, okay? Now I want you to help me to understand these two sentences. What is the word that we use after so? What is the word that we use after so? So,
An adjective.
Adjective.
an adjective. Yes, we use always an adjective after so. Or maybe we can use also an adverb, okay? And after such a, We need an adjective too, but after the adjective, we need a noun. We can't use such a just with an adjective. ¿Ok? Recuerden eso, que such a debe ser utilizado con un adjetivo y un sustantivo. No puede ser utilizado solo con un adjetivo. ¿Ok? So, as you can see, we are talking about the movie. The same movie. Okay? So, let's see here. Such that and so that. We use both structures to show a result. For example, the movie was so boring that I fell asleep. Okay? The documentary was so well explained that I learned a lot about lions. As you can see here, we have an adverb, an adjective and an adverb. Okay? We can use an adjective or an adverb after so. Okay? But when we use such, we need to use we need to use an adjective and a noun. Always you need to use a noun. Okay? Adjective and noun. The last episode was a boring episode that I felt as well. Sorry, perdón. Last episode was such a boring episode that I fell asleep. The reporter from the documentary gave such a good explanation that I learned a lot. As you can see, we always need an adjective and a noun when we use such. But when we use so, we can use an adjective and an adverb. Okay? So, here we have some other examples. The Simpsons are so funny that I can't stop laughing. As you can see, this is our adjective that we are using here. There are so many different programs that I don't know what to choose. When we have so many, we always use a noun, a countable noun. Okay, remember we use many with countable nouns. So many and a countable noun. Then, when we have so few, we also use a countable noun. There are so few nice dramas that you easily get tired of one of them. So remember, we use so many with countable nouns when we are talking about a large quantity, and so few with countable nouns when we are talking about a small quantity. Okay? Then we can use also, we can use also so much and so little. Okay? So much when we are talking about uncountable nouns, and so little when we are talking about uncountable nouns. Okay, so remember many and few with countables, and much and so little with uncountables. Okay, let's see here. In your book, you have exactly the same explanation. It says you can express a result. Remember, in this situation, we are talking about results with such that and so that. So here we have such that and so that. So much and so little, we use this both with uncountable nouns. Okay? And so many and so few, we use this too with countable nouns. Such is followed by a noun, usually modified by an adjective. Ok, como habíamos dicho, such está seguido de un adjetivo y un sustantivo. Adjective and noun. So, is followed by an adjective or an adverb. Okay. And let me underline this. Adjective and adverb. And so many, so few, they are followed by countable nouns. Okay, countable nouns. So much and so little, they are followed by uncountable nouns. Okay, so let's make a list. Vamos a hacer una pequeña listita para que esté un poco más claro. So, when we have so, ¿de qué? ¿Cómo iba seguido esto? Vamos a hacer.
Adjetivo o adverbio.
Yes, so, such, so many. So few. Then we have so much and so little. Okay, so let's see. So is followed by an adjective or an adverb, right? Or adverb. Okay, and then we have here that. Such is followed by. ¿Por qué
An
iba seguido
adjective,
such?
adjective, a noun.
And a noun, right? Adjective and a noun. And then after that, after this, we have that. So many and so few is followed by, are followed by what?
Countable.
Countable. Countable nouns. Okay. Ah, what happened? Se me fue todo. Aquí está. Okay, so they are followed by countable nouns. And then after this, we have that to express the result, right? And then so much and so little, they are followed by
Uncountable.
countable nouns. And after that, after this uncountable noun, we have that to express the result. Okay, after all of this, we have the result. Okay, después de that siempre va a venir el resultado. Okay. Any questions about this? No? So let's see. Let's practice a little bit this. Rewrite these sentences using such, that, or so that. Make any other necessary changes. Okay, so here we have the sentences. I want you to change the sentence. Incredibly well filmed, right? And then we have the result. Let me change the color. That, and then the rest of the sentence. It is often hard to imagine, and the rest of the sentence. Okay? So you have to do the sentences in this way. So you have to recognize if this word is an adjective, is an adverb, an adjective, and a noun. Okay? So this is the way. Try to work on the other sentences, and then we're going to check, okay? Let's see. Sentence number 2. If you have a sentence, you can raise your hand so we can correct the sentence. Okay, I have 2 participants here. Bruno, please. Sentence number 2.
So many TV programs show a lot of violence that people are becoming desensitized to it.
Okay, ¿en qué parte ocupó so or such?
Al principio y before people.
One more time, please. Could you read your sentence one more time?
So many TV programs show a lot of violence that people are becoming desensitized to it.
Okay, yes, could be. Fabiana, do you have another option?
Yes, I had many TV programs show so much of violence that people are becoming desensitized to it.
Okay, very good. Yes. We use so much violence because here we have an uncountable noun, right? Violence. So many TV programs, many TV programs show so much violence that, entonces en lugar de decir a lot of, aquí pondríamos so much, right? So much violence. Y aquí pondríamos that people are becoming and the rest of the sentence. Okay, very good. Let's go to number 3. Any of you have sentence number 3? Please,
Teacher,
Maricel.
there are so few good movies on TV this day that people are returning to movie theaters.
Okay. So there are so few good movies. So we are going to add here so few good movies that and the rest of the sentence, right? Okay, let's go with
Teacher,
yes?
I've got a question. We can use such few or not?
No, because few is such few. No podemos utilizar such few. Solamente so few or so
Okay.
many. Okay. Okay, let's go with the next one. Number 4. Please, Laura.
I don't know if it's
Okay, no problem.
TV news reporting are so superficial that people are forced to get in-depth information elsewhere.
Okay, yes, it's good. So, television news reporting, you use are?
Yes, because I thought that it was
Okay, television and
oh,
news.
it's an uncountable now.
Yeah. So,
Television news reporting is so superficial that people are forced to blah blah blah.
yes, very good. So, as we have an adjective here, we use so, right? What about number 5? Anyone? Fabiana?
Sports broadcast attract such huge audience that TV stations can charge large amounts for advertising.
Yes, so such huge audience that, right? As you can see, in this sentence, we are using adjective and a noun. Okay, so that's why we use such that. Angela, any questions?
Yes, in the 4 television news reporting, we can put is so much superficial too.
But superficial is not a noun, right? Superficial is an adjective. Si fuese un sustantivo que fuera incontable, sí podríamos ponerle so much. ¿Ok? Pero como es solo un adjetivo, no. ¿Ok? Okay, good. Any other questions about this?
Teacher, in the first sentences I have read, is it well or no?
In the first sentence, what?
The number 2, I read a sentence. I
I
wrote,
wrote a sentence. Okay, what is your sentence?
so many TV programs show a lot of violence that people are becoming desensitized to it. Is it okay or no?
It's okay, but podríamos decir so many TV programs. Pero si se da cuenta, no estamos utilizando un adjetivo after this, después de so. Entonces, usted en esta oración, si usted pone so many TV programs, no estaría ocupando la fórmula o lo que estamos aprendiendo hoy. ¿Ok? Entonces, en lugar de poner so many TV programs, debe colocar el so acá. A ver, so much violence. ¿Ok? Porque después de el so much or so, debe ir lo que estamos poniendo acá. ¿Ok? En este caso, un sustantivo incontable. Está correcta la oración que usted me dice, pero no estaría utilizando lo que estamos practicando hoy en esta clase. ¿Ok? No estaría utilizando so para expresar un resultado. ¿Ok? Here we have some other exercises for practicing. It says, there were several clouds in the sky. ¿Qué podríamos decir acá? There were in the sky that we couldn't see much.
So many.
So many? So many clouds? Like this?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Yes. What about, again, please? Number 2, it was that we couldn't see much. ¿Qué podríamos poner?
Such a cloudy
Such a
night.
cloudy night.
Such a cloudy noun. Remember, when we are talking about a singular noun, we need such a, okay? Let's go to number 3. The passing of the comet Swift Hubble is
Such a rare occurrence.
occurrence, okay? Because we have an adjective, rare, and occurrence, noun, right? Number 4, the comet has that it passes through Earth's upper atmosphere every year.
So large wake.
So large wake? Yes?
Such a large wake.
Such a large
No, such a large.
wake. Porque tenemos un adjetivo, large, wake, noun. Okay? Number 5. The burning bits of dust and debris shooting stars appear that you can see 2 or 3 a minute.
So frequently.
So frequently, because it's an adverb, right? Number 6. The particles are that they burn up before they reach Earth.
So small.
So small, right?
Small.
The meteor particles move that they become bullets in space.
So fast.
So fast. Number 8. The meteor storm is to satellites that they have to move.
Such a big threat.
Such a big threat, right? Number 9. Scientists consider this that they are flying in aircraft to study it.
Such
Such a
Such
unique.
a unique
Very good. And the last one, this observation will reveal that scientists would be
so much
So much
information.
important information.
okay, very good. So your exercises will be something like this in the test, okay? I send you, I don't know if I send you some links. Yes, I send you, lo cerré. I send you this link to the WhatsApp group. It's a very good link so you can see some examples. This. As you can see here, we have a picture well explained, a well explained picture about so that and such that. And here we have a lot of examples. Okay, so try to read this so you can practice a little bit, okay?